Nations Championship Team of the Week for week number 1, folks. We had some pretty impressive victories, some close matches. Who were the standout players at the weekend? We'll go through some of the key stats from the 6 games that were played, the key players, what did they do? And you guys can let us know your thoughts. I've largely picked them in the order that I wrote them down. But as always, you guys can let me know your thoughts. We'll get to some honorable mentions at the end, because there are some positions that I feel like there were multiple candidates. I'm going to start, I'm a Kiwi, I'm going to go with one of the All Blacks guys. Cam Roigard is still a very important player for the All Blacks. I think the drop-off between Cam Roigard and our next best 9 is pretty substantial. He's a very, very good player. He's a world-class number 9. I don't know that we win this game without Cam Roigard. It's only a 2-point victory over the French. 2 tries from Cam. He gets 1, which is a proper halfback snipe. Luku bounces out, so he takes the gap, goes over for the first, and gets the second one with a great support line from Jordie Barrett. But along with the 2 tries, he does constantly carry the ball. He's got a hand in like that try where the All Blacks went 22-22. He's got a couple of, good kind of touches or snipes in there where he's got really good involvements. 8 carries, 49 meters, and 6 defenders beaten. 6 defenders beaten is the most of any player in that entire game, and he's your halfback. That's the kind of impact that Cam Roigard has. A couple of line breaks, 9 from 10 tackles as well. Doesn't have any turnovers conceded, which when you consider a guy's made 92 passes and put in 6 kicks, that's also a pretty good stat for a halfback to not be coughing up the pill because you've got your hands on it so often. Yeah, Cam Roigard is a very important player for the All Blacks right now. Next, from the Bok and England game, I'm going to go with the number 8, Jasper Wiese. He is likewise very important. I'm not sure that there's such a disparity between him being their best number 8 and then the next guy, because you've got quite a few good number 8s in South Africa. But he's got a very, very important skill set for what the Boks do. He's a very aggressive ball carrier. He only knows one direction, really. He runs it straight, as is kind of highlighted by his stats. He has 4 defenders beaten, which is first equal for that game. But he's also very adept at getting his mitts over the ball. And that was a clear strategy, the combination of him and Grant Williams. Grant Williams puts up the high ball. Sometimes it was Libbok. Wiese gets over the ball, or just is Johnny on the spot when the English guy catches the ball, gets tackled, and then Wiese gets over the ball. So he's a key man in that regard. He wins 2 turnovers in that game, which is likewise first overall for the game. He makes 12 from 15 tackles, so he's busy defensively. 17 carries. He's your top South African ball carrier. He beats 4 defenders, like I said, doesn't concede any turnovers, only a couple of passes. Because basically when Jasper gets the ball, he's running it straight. So he does his job, and he does it very well. From the Ireland game, I'm going to go with Stu McCloskey. I'm not sure he was as electrifyingly brilliant as in the Six Nations, but he was still very, very, very good. And again, I think a key man in the Irish victory. Do they win without Stu McCloskey? Well, I'll go through some of the stats, and you guys can let me know. 8 carries for 44 meters. He's your second top ball carrier for Ireland in terms of meterage, and that's a very good ratio of meters per carry. 8 carries to return 44 meters for a number 12 is very good. He beats 4 defenders, which is the same as Wiese for the South African game. He's the top Irish guy for busting tackles. He has 1 line break, which is first equal for Irish ball carriers. He has 13 passes and a couple of offloads. He's the only real Irishman chucking in the offloads. He's first for offloads for Ireland. He wins a turnover. I don't know, man. He's got a huge carry right in the build-up to the Kian Prendergast trying to go close to the line. He bloody ran down Jorgensen, who should be gone for all money. It still ended in a try for the Aussies, but he was trying to kind of relive that Marcus Smith rundown from the Six Nations. The dude was into absolutely everything. He does have 1 turnover conceded, but doesn't concede any penalties. 6 from 8 tackles. He's just your first guy in so many categories for Ireland. I feel like he is a key man in that game. So there you go. Jack Morgan. Good to get a Morgan on the board. Oh, I've not given myself enough space between my 7 and my number 8. Jack Morgan. What a standout player for Wales. Like in a generation of Welsh rugby, which is not at the moment at its highest point. That's putting it kindly. Jack Morgan is still absolutely phenomenal. Jeez, he's a good player. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Michael Hooper, although the Wallabies were never down to like 12th in the world or whatever it was that Wales played this game in. But, geez, he's a good player. When Wales play good or poorly, and they played well at the weekend, he always stands out. 2 tries from Jack Morgan against Fiji. Talk about leading kind of from the front. 6 carries, 13 meters is not his most aggressive ball carrying stats, but as I said, two tries amongst that. 17 out of 19 tackles is first for the game. 2 turnovers, 1 is first for Wales. It's a defensive shift. Like, if you didn't watch that game, Fiji went, hey, under our old coach, we were a little bit too conservative. We are just going to go ultra Fijian. Like the Welsh were having to do all kinds of crazy defending while the Fijians were just offloading and offloading. I think the Fijians offloaded more in that game than every other team combined. I haven't actually added it up, but no one was even half of their numbers. The Fijians were nuts in that game, so they needed guys like Jack Morgan to tackle the house down to win those turnovers. He didn't concede any penalties, didn't concede any turnovers. Jack Morgan, couple of tries, making tackles on elusive and dangerous Fijian ball runners. Key man for them. Now, next I'm going to get to fullback, which is really one of those positions this week, which was very, very competitive. But I've gone with one of the Scottish lads in Kyle Rowe. If you wanted to go for Damien Willemse, if you wanted to go for like Hugo Keenan, there were a lot of good fullbacks this week. Blair Murray was quite electric for Wales, but Kyle Rowe had a game. If you didn't watch Scotland play Argentina, it's worth watching to see some of Kyle Rowe's highlights because he was electric. He scored a try. That one's just pure gas out on the right wing. That's actually one of his kind of less impressive highlights, interestingly, is the try. Like, he has a hand in the Scott Cummings try. If you haven't seen that one, he's the link-up man in that one. He's got a hand in the Schoeman try. That's maybe his most impressive one, where he's just got Argentinian guys hanging off him. He was just electric. 15 carries, which is the top Scott for that, for 150 meters. 150 meters is nuts. And easily the first in that game. The next best guy for meters in that game had 65. He's got 150. Electric stuff. 8 defenders beaten, first in that game. 5 line breaks, first in that game. Offensively, he had an outing. He was just unplayable at times. As I said, had a hand in multiple Scottish tries, even if he only kind of gets the one credited to himself. 6 passes and an offload. Does have a penalty and a turnover conceded. But, my goodness. The attacking stats from Kyle Rowe in that one, like no Blair Kinghorn, seemingly no problem. I haven't got anyone from the Italy and Japan game yet. Italy didn't play very well, but the Japanese guys did. I'm going to go with their tight head prop, Shuhei Takeuchi. If you haven't seen him play, he is a really fun prop to watch because he loves getting his hands on the ball. He loves the ball carrier. I don't think I've seen him play since last year, but I've definitely seen him play a few times, and every time I've seen him play, I've noted the fact that he just loves him and Harada, the hooker. They just want to be busy. They want to be high worker around the park, and they can scrum as well. Like, I looked at the preview of that game thinking, man, Fischetti and Riccioni, they'll be trying to turn the screws in the Japanese scrum. Didn't really happen. If anything, they were getting pinged. So, Takeuchi for Japan. 9 carries for 17 meters for a prop. Those are very, very good numbers. Like, they're not 150 meters from your fullback, but geez, for a tight head prop, in a game where these guys go in and underdogs, that's cracking numbers. He's got a big carry right before the Warner-Dearns try. He only passes a couple of times because he's similar to Jasper Wiese, and that when he gets the ball, he's only going one direction. 10 from 11 tackles as well. Doesn't concede any penalties, which for a prop is always a great stat. Doesn't concede any turnovers. Very, very busy outing from Takeuchi in that Japanese front row. Who do I go with next? These were kind of my easy picks from all of the games, like some really kind of standout performers. I would like to highlight another one of the Scottish guys, to be fair, because their backline play was quite electric. I think they got the biggest score this weekend, didn't they? Rory Hutchinson. Great to see him back in Scottish colours, and seeing him alongside Tuipulotu and the other backs as well, but getting that back line humming. His passing game is just phenomenal. It's criminal that he hasn't had more caps in recent times, but the Scottish midfield is quite stacked. He finishes with a try. It's kind of a wee dummy and goes over. He's got a try assist, which is, I think, even more impressive than his try. It's a ripper of a pass out to Sione Tuipulotu. It is a huge pass. He really puts some oomph behind it, and it's a hell of a pass. So try and an assist. 14 carries, which is second for Scotland in that game. 60 metres. He's behind Rose, 150, but he's not far behind the other top performers. A couple of defenders beating the line break. 16 passes as well. 16 passes for a guy in the 13 jumper is really high. So it's indicative of how the Scots wanted to play. They really wanted to play some running rugby. 6 out of 7 tackles, wins a turnover. Only the one penalty conceded as kind of negatives, but yeah, really impressive from Rory Hutchinson. Got to get more front rowers on the board. Back to the Bok game, I went with Malcolm Marx, and hooker's also a tricky one because there were a few good guys in this position. Like you could certainly go with, with Dan Sheehan. Other teams got their mauls going and whatnot. You could certainly highlight others. But Malcolm Marx, he gets a maul try as well. Malcolm Marx loves a maul try. And I also love the fact that he is just, again, a defensive powerhouse. Doesn't get the turnovers this week. That was more of Visa's job. But 15 from 16 tackles. He is South Africa's second top tackler. He also has a try assist. He's got the skills to pop the ball to Creel for a nice try. He's only got the 3 passes, but ends up with an assist. And his carrying game, 7 carries, 8 meters. Beats the defender. Lineout was at like 89%, which is pretty solid. I'd like it to be a little bit higher, but overall, Malcolm Marx putting in a very kind of Malcolm Marx level performance. I'm going to finish out the front row by going with one of the All Blacks lads, Ethan de Groot. I wanted to see how he scrummed up against Demba Bamba, and I think he did pretty good. All Blacks scrum was one of the good things, I think, especially in that first half. The French replacements, I thought, kind of upped their game a bit, but certainly the starting props for the All Blacks, I thought, did very well. 5 carries, 7 meters, and a defender beaten. Absolutely prop-like numbers. Ethan de Groot, very busy. Got a big old shiner on his face, came very close to a try because he does have 1 turnover conceded. And that's when he lost the ball forward going for the try line. But he was bloody close. He admitted, no, I didn't get it. And he looked like a boxer who'd been on the wrong side of a few punches, but yeah, he put his body in the right place. 11 from 11 tackles, including a dominant one, plus the big scrummaging. He even wins a line out. He does concede 1 penalty. I think it was a high tackle, which was a bit silly, but not conceding penalties at scrum time, putting the French scrum under the pump, getting around the park. I thought Ethan de Groot still looks good and continues on some of his Super Rugby form in terms of his big scrum. I'm going to go with some locks. I'm going to go with the Japanese captain, also a bit of a New Zealand connection, Warner Dearns. Had a cracking Super Rugby season. He won Super Rugby over here with the Highlanders, Hurricanes, but back for Japanese rugby, and he's another one of those kind of key guys who's the first guy in multiple categories. He scores a try. Like I said, it's a close range one after his tight head prop goes close. He's able to force his way over for, was it the opening try for Japan? 1 try from him. 16 carries, which is the leading ball carrier for Japan. It's not usually your lock who is your leading ball carrier, but he does that. 24 meters and a bit defender beaten in that. He's their top line-out man, winning 5. He's got 5 passes. He's got 8 from 9 tackles, including a dominant one. Doesn't concede penalties, doesn't concede turnovers, gets charges down. He's just a very, very busy guy around the park. Kind of wish he played for the All Blacks, but we got some locks injured out at the moment, but our locks did all right. But he's certainly a good player. Speaking of locks, from the Welsh game, Ben Carter, very much like his captain, defensive powerhouse shift, and kind of similar to Warner Dearns, is the top line-out man in that game. He also wins 5 line-outs, so he's the key man in that Welsh line-out. And then 14 from 14 tackles in a game where the Fijians were busting tackles like mad, because as I said, they were playing Fijian crazy offloading, big carrying, Joshua Tuisova coming at you. Rugby to go 14 from 14 is phenomenal from Ben Carter, and again, needed that big defensive shift to get the win. 5 carries, 4 meters, but no penalties conceded. 1 pass, tackles the house down, wins the line-out ball. Part of all the kind of Welsh set piece, which is going good for those maul tries and whatnot. So key man in that Welsh victory. Still got a few positions to go. Cian Prendergast for the Irish. Good to see him getting the go, because he's kind of in and out. Depends on the back row availabilities for the Irish. Caelan Doris obviously being out means there was going to be a slot for somebody outside of Van der Fleer and Conan and the usual guys to kind of step up. Cam Prendergast did really well. Offensive numbers is 3 carries for 3 meters, but he gets a try amongst those 3 carries, and kind of like Ben Carter for the Welsh, defensive powerhouse. He only played 51 minutes, but 17 from 18 tackles. He is the second equal tackle. I think he's only behind Josh van der Fleer. So him and Josh got through a heck of a lot of work. They both got tries. He includes a dominant try in there. He does get 5 line-out wins, although the Irish line-out was kind of a bit of a struggle, but he was one of the guys winning those line-out balls. Doesn't concede any penalties. Doesn't concede any turnovers. Really, really solid effort from him. Then number 10. Marnie Libok. 10, I feel like was... It's kind of down my list of guys to pick because it wasn't an obvious one. There were a few guys who had solid games. There wasn't any one guy, I feel like, who was head and shoulders above the rest, but Marnie Libok just looked very comfortable. And I feel like Cheslin Colby doing the goal kicking maybe helps out a little bit. It allows Marnie just to focus on his own game. And he focuses on his game very, very well. He's got 13 passes and 5 kicks from hand, which I don't feel like does it justice. Like, those are just numbers, but his ability to get the Springbok backline running is still why I think that's his unique selling point. Like, Sasha has got his own game, probably the best attacking 10, like, individually. He's got the other aspects of his game too. He kicks goals better than Marnie and can also set up the backline. Andre Pollard is the Iceman, but Libok, in terms of just unlocking the Bok defense, I said it in the preview as well, I feel like is the best 10 for South Africa in that aspect of the game. And he got some of that going at the weekend. Like, whose try was it out left? It's like Libok to Willems to somebody out on the left wing, Kurtley Arendse. That try, like, that's a Libok special. Just getting it through the back line, getting it through the hands. Silky stuff. Kicking game was good. Only the 2 carries, but when he did carry, it was effective. 2 carries for 16 meters and beats a defender. So not like the main aspect of his game. Like, if it's Sasha, he's going to go with a ton more carries than that, but it's effective carrying, so picking his moments. Does have a turnover and a penalty conceded, but overall, pretty good from Marnie Libok. We got 2 left. And I've tended to favour the winning teams here, obviously, but we do need to highlight a couple of the games were real close, and a couple of the games had some really standout performers from some of the losing players. Theo Atisogbe in the game for France. He started on the left wing, but Peno goes off. He switches to the right, which is where he scores his try. Out in the corner, which is where he sets up a try. Out in the corner, draws in like 3 or 4 All Blacks tacklers. One-handed pops the ball inside to Astoy. It is a cracking try. So I know there's no BLBRA, but as I said in the preview to the French All Blacks game, this guy was the second top try scorer in the Six Nations for a reason. He is an electric player. He finishes with 10 carries, 54 meters, and 4 defenders beaten. So he's the top equal Frenchman for defenders beaten. Gets a couple of line breaks, and he makes 14 from 14 tackles, which for a winger is phenomenal. He couldn't stop Will Jordan from scoring. He tackled him. He still scored the try, but he didn't miss a tackle in that process. No turnovers conceded. He was very, very good. And then left wing, I've gone with Max Jorgensen. He was wearing 14, but he was based out on the left wing, was Jorgensen. He didn't get a try himself, but he did get the try assist one when he got the intercept from Prendergast. That was Sam. He popped it inside to Lonergan with like big McCloskey chasing him down. So he set that one away, but he's, again, unique guy in terms of his ability to be the top guy in so many categories for Australia. 6 carries for 76 meters. First for the entire game. That's a great return on run meters. 6 defenders beaten. First equal for the game. 3 line breaks. First for the game. As I said, try assist, 4 passes, 6 from 8 tackles. Does have 3 turnovers conceded, but yeah, he is still a very good player, is young Max Jorgen. So that's your 15. We'll go through a few honourable mentions now. I've got a long list of them, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Damian Willems is probably the one guy that I'm a little bit hurt with myself that I didn't pick him because I thought he had an exceptional game, but fullback was just so competitive this week. Will Jordan obviously scored a couple of tries for the All Blacks as he closes down on Doug Howlett's record, which was really nice. Waningolo, haven't got any of the Fijians on the board, but he busted like 17 tackles or something stupid. He was in very devastating form. Keenan was safe as houses at the back, scored a try for Ireland. Josh Adams had a great try where have you seen it? Sticks the hand through the legs of Ravu Tamanda, who's like waiting for the ball to go dead, just waits too long. Josh Adams slaps it down. Had a few kind of key defensive moments as well. Cheslin Colby with that step on Caden Burley. That is brutal. Not the first time Cheslin Colby has stepped an English defender like that, but geez, it's brutal. Grant Williams at 9 for the Springboks was also very good, and his kicking game was good. Ito, the Japanese 10, it's his test debut, and he gets a win over the Italians. He was pulling the strings very, very well. Tui Polotu, that's Sione for the Scots, was also very good at 12. Their midfield was looking cracking. The try, the carries, the passes from him. Bro Beret, the French 13. He was electric. He's got some serious pace. He was setting up the guys around him. Suali'i, I thought, had his best game in a wee while because his Super Rugby season was a bit quiet. Had a nice line break in that game for the Wallabies, some dominant hits. Sinti for the Argentinians, who were overall a bit disappointing, was a good link-up man in the midfield. Geordie Barrett, I thought, was pretty good. For the All Blacks, he gets a lot of stick for some reason for not being like Laumapi in terms of his carrying game, but he's got other aspects of his game than just being able to bust tackles. George Martin for England, got no English guys on the board. He showed a bit of mongrel to him, scored a nice try for England. Sam Darry had a heap of tackles for the ABs. Josh Cannon for the Aussies, disruptive of the Irish line-out. So very busy from him and his early on in his test career. Lorenzo Canone from the Italians was very busy on the ball carry. Josh van der Fleer, I'm a bit gutted, but Jack Morgan. But Josh van der Fleer, heaps of tackles, top Irish tackler, scored a try. Peter Steph du Toit having to come in at lock last minute as the box made changes. Hasn't played lock for a long time, but he played lock exceptionally well. Luke Jacobson was given a bit of stick for his selection here in New Zealand, but he played good. Harada for the Japanese. Heap of carries and tackles from the hooker. Rhys Carey scored a nice try for Wales. Taniela Tupou scrummed off from the bench. Goodness me, that's a huge list of honourable mentions. If you wanted me to make a bench, you can pick your bench from those guys. But there we go. That is the team of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the stats and whatnot. Subscribe to the channel if you want some more Nations Championship coverage, because it's going to be a fascinating one. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.